Here we are back on the river. We've left the beach now for the winter. The swallows are back. I don't suppose you can see them in the picture there. They're so fast. We're on a new bit of river. They seem to be doing some work on the river I normally go on up here in the borders. Where that big rock is there's a proper deep pool there that you'd need a flipping scuba kit, never mind a snorkel. But just here we've got some rocks going across the river. Water's quite fast, but just here got a bit of slack, and inside there there's some rocks collecting. So I think I'm going to have a dig around in there and see what I can find. And then, if nothing, I'll potter up and down the bank and let you know. Speak to you soon. Well, that was a bit of a dead spot up there. It had been thrashed previously, I think, although probably a few years ago. Anyway, we've come down river a little bit. We've moved that boulder there, and I'm currently pumping out the gravel underneath where that stone lay, plus a couple of other stones like that one. And it's very gravelly. You don't get the impression there's much in the way of fine stuff in it, but that's okay, because that's how it was further up the river when I was getting gold. Unfortunately, they seem to be constructing something up the river, so I can't get there. Anyway, we'll pop this in the dream mat and see what happens. So I've cleared the sluice out. My hopes are not high. Everything that I'm pulling out, you can see down there where it's come out of the sluice, it is just like gravel by the bucket load, and you don't see any fines coming in to the into the sluice until it's really well washed out. Anyway, it's pretty iron rich. Now, quartz is a rare thing on this river, down at this neck of the woods. There is more further up. When you clean your sluice out, you do get quartz, but down here, very little. Anyway, it's full of this iron rich stone. Some of it looks like it might be magnetite or one of the iron ores. Anyway, let's see what we get. Nice sunny day today actually for change, so if we get some, it should show up quite nicely, I would hope. Don't know if you can see that. Let's get it in the shadow. Shadow's better, isn't it, for gold? There we are. A few diddy specks. It was a lot of work though. It's much better further up the river. I'll clean that up properly. Hi folks, we're back on the burn. Been here last year, had some nice gold, so I thought I'd come back. It'd be rude not to. So last year I was down in that hole there. It's now full of slime, so it shows how quickly nature takes over the hole that you fill in. This stuff falls off as soon as you touch it, so I put my hand on there and the damn thing fell off, so I've had a bit of soil out of there, but there was nothing in it. Anyway, here's the eye of my affection for today, this big boulder. Now normally you'd be behind it, I guess, but because the water's coming in here and it's depositing a whole load of gravel on top of these bits of rock. This one's loose, that's bedrock, and I'm slowly just pulling it all out from the side of that big rock. I don't suppose I'll be moving that because it's absolutely humongous, but I've already had some wiry gold out, just seen it in the pan, and there's the sluice doing its thing. So I'm just chucking everything out of the pan into the sluice. I'm not using the big bucket wherever it's gone there, because this is a death trap with the slime. So I'm taking a pan and a riddle, and just pouring the pan down the sluice. But when I get to the last little bit, I'm just checking it to see what's in, and I've already had some little bits of wiry gold, so that's a very good sign, and it is fresh gold here. It's hardly been any distance. So I'm going to crack on with this little, I don't know if you call it a crevice, the gap between the boulder and the bedrock. So actually I think that's another boulder, but that is definitely bedrock where my foot is. So I'll report back. Well, I've given that a bit of a clearing out. There's still more to go, but I'm having a pause and see what's in the pan. So I've cleared out the sluice, not the sluice, the sluice. I've popped it in the pan, and I know there's a couple of pieces in the bottle because I took them out as I was panning, so I'll pop them back in and I'll just come back to you when I've got a spare hand. Just get rid of the bigger bits. Panning straight into the river here, which is always a dangerous thing. I think I'll probably just stop there actually and just wash it all back in the pan. I don't know why, but I always like to pan it down opposite the riffle in the pan. And I'm rubbish at one-handed panning. So here we go, let's see what's in. It's very red, the little bits of stone left, which is all ironstone I guess. Don't see a lot of quartz here, occasionally see some quartz. Oh yeah, there's some in there. There's a decent bit. Some more bits up there. There's bits in the gravel. Let me just give it a quick clean up and I'll come back to you. Well, there we go. A few bits of gold in the pan. No chunky ones yet, but I know there are chunky ones around because we've had them before. Anyway, we'll crack on after lunch and get some more hopefully. Well, it's too big for an old git like me to sift it, so I'm trying to dig underneath that stone, and I will come round the back and suck all the stuff round the back out. But for the moment, I'm just on my second session on the sluice. I don't tend to see anything on the mat. It's not until I clear it out I tend to see it. There's a bit of quartz that's just popped out. Not very often you see one. I'll take that home and have a good look at it because it looks a bit dirty. In the meantime, chuck some of this in. There's hardly any black sand here. It's all those little ironstones which I'm taking to be hematite, and there's just hardly any magnetite or ilmenite. I don't see anything on the mat, but I bet there's something in there somewhere. Time will tell. Well, I'm getting down the back of that piece of that big piece of rock, and I have actually moved it ever so slightly with this piddly little wrench, whatever you want to call it, pry bar. So I think I'm going to nip down the shop and buy me a big crowbar and move that thing, because underneath that there's got to be good prospects. Anyway, I have seen a few more bits go in, and at the end of that last clear up I did spot a little bit of wiry gold, which I'll show you when I do the clean up at home. But it's more of the same. It's a bit precarious. There we go. Lots of red stones in there. Some little bits of quartz. I've got a couple more actually. I'll take those home and crush them up, I think, and see what's inside. Because I've got to be close to the source. I've had square-looking dingers out of here. I've had wiry bits, and if you go about 500 metres down the river, they all seem to be quite flat. So I reckon the source isn't far upstream. And when I've got a full day, instead of snatching half a day, I'm going to have a wander up there and just, without any equipment, just have a wander and poke about, see what's what, and then decide what to do. Anyway, it's good to be back out in the hills. The beach panning's great in winter because you don't have to wade through the snow. You can park up literally 50 yards from the black sands on the beach. And then you just take your concentrates home from the Gold Python 1000. But it's nice to be back on the river, a bit of peace and quiet. Up on the moors, the swallows are back. That's good to see. Anyway, I'll keep shoveling this and report back. Well, I pulled these out earlier, these two rocks. I don't know what to make of them. Perhaps that's the easy one to see. Yeah, there it is. What on earth is that? Concrete? Don't reckon so. Don't know. I mean, there's only one building up the road from here. I don't know. There's no roads above here. Don't know. Got me flummoxed as that. Well, the blue sky's disappearing, which is a good thing because I didn't put any suntan cream on before I came out, so good for me. Also good for me. Pieces of gold. Looking forward to getting that one in the snuffer. Shiny. Well, there's a pile of tailings. That's my day's volume down the river. And as I said last time, the stuff you end up with in the pan is a right old funny mix of red and dark stuff, but it's not the black sands. Anyway, there is gold in there, but it's hard to separate from this stuff. I'm sure more in there. So I'm going to take all of that home and clean it up because it's weird stuff. And this bright red stuff here, I'm beginning to wonder if that's not that mercury stuff. Better wash my hands anyway. Forget the name of it for a minute. Anyway, I'll tidy up at home, and we'll call that a day on the river because my back's knackered, and we better get gone. Okay, see you in a bit. Well, I've come home and I've separated out all the cons. This is what's bereft of gold now, but you can see very little quartz, if any. And I reckon that stuff is cinnabar. I couldn't remember the name when I was on the river, but I think it's cinnabar. It really makes your fingers go red when you touch it. Anyway, we've got all that out. Here's a piece from further down the river. I had a little session further down the river a couple of weeks ago. I might drop a quick insert in the video of my trip down there. Didn't get a lot. I couldn't go where I normally go because the lay-by was full of contractors' vehicles. But anyway, picked up a few bits of gold that day. And that's what I got. These are the ones I picked up. I'll crush them down. Might do another video if there's any gold in them. I've never had gold out of a piece of quartz that I've crushed up, but it was always the first time. We'll see. Anyway, that's my finer cons. And there is some gold. Yeah, I'll clean that up and I'll do a zoom in. Well, there's the gold. A couple of, I mean, they're only small pieces, but there are a couple in there that are quite wiry. That one in the middle on the left. I remember seeing that going into the pan, or the top mat. Anyway, I might get a couple of photographs of these a bit closer up so we can see how rough they are. Anyway, I think that's it. Thanks for watching.